With the mood set, we can begin talking about the Mirage F1 module and how it fits into the DCS scene. Before we dive into it, I would like to give a special thanks to Aerges and Eagle Dynamics for a sneak peek into the module. Plane releases on the 20th, and as I'm still learning the module, I thought that the best way to give you an idea of how it is to fly it is to do a practice interception mission. I believe Red Kite will be making a more formal video that gives you a full rundown of the radar system. If this is your first time here, this channel focuses on multiplayer sim gameplay, so if you're into that, please subscribe. While we do this interception mission, I can talk through on my thoughts about this module. In general, I'm really excited for it. This brings another sought-after module in an already busy Cold War scene. The beauty of this plane is that it saw action in Africa, Latin America, and in the Middle East, which means that there is a lot more flexibility now to make some very exciting mission scenarios. On our Cold War server, we are planning on having the Mirage F1 on the blue side on the Caucasus map, and on the red side on the Syrian mission. I think this plane has something that is hard to put into words, but can be best described as just having a soul. Some planes fly so well and are so straightforward that they feel a bit sterile to me, but not this one. It's really like stepping into a portal to the past, and you can definitely see how Dassault changed some things and kept on with some other design choices when you compare this to the Mirage 2000, and I find that really interesting. I think this plane will vibe really well within the DCS scene, and I think this is a big step in the right direction, and I'm excited to see how Aerges will continue on with this project as they flesh out the other variants that are coming with this. Now with the table set, we can go ahead and focus on our interception mission. And we see here our first radar contact. There's a lot of static noise on this radar, so you do have to pay attention because it's not a 100% clear picture like on a modern plane. They're still quite far and out of range, so we can't lock them quite yet. So what we're going to do is keep burning in their general direction, and when we get close enough, we'll lock them. And this should give you an idea of how it looks and feels to employ the radar-based missiles with the Mirage F1. And this is exciting also because in this interception mission, we're going to be doing this in clouds, which is only possible by having a radar. So as we get closer, I'm going to show you what it looks like when you fail to lock a target first, and then we'll do it right the second time. The tricky thing here that I've noticed is that if you just click once on the lock button, it doesn't really catch them, and then the radar has to totally refresh again. Now we're doing it real for this time, and we see that if you hold down the lock button, it actually does pick up the contact. Now the symbology really hasn't changed yet on our HUD, but it will once we start powering the pylons and turning on the master arm. So powering the pylons and turning on the master arm, and we see that little orange square on the HUD, which is our contact. And this is great because again, we're intercepting something in a cloud, and it would be tricky to do it only with heaters and only relying on your eyeballs, but now we have we know exactly where he is. So all we have to do is just stay nose on, and the radar will do the hard work for us. Skipping ahead, we are now closer to the target, and we're going to see a green dot appear on the HUD, which signals that we're close enough to fire. And you may have heard when I fired that the RPMs came down a little bit on the plane, and that's the engine trying to protect itself. If you're in a full burn and the RPMs don't come down, you may frag your own engine by shooting a missile, so just keep that in mind. Aerges has also modeled the ability for your engine to also conk out if you fly into the exhaust of another plane, so keep that in mind. With the first interception done, and us being so close to the formation, we're going to transition into using a Fox 2 missile. The easiest way to do that is to turn your plane into dogfight mode. This will prioritize using the wingtip missiles, and it also gives you a gunsight pipper. As I do this vertical loop, you're going to notice that my plane is going to get a little squirrely. This is because of the imbalanced load that I have. I shot one R530 from my left side, and I have one remaining on my right side. With a load like this, the plane wants to naturally roll to one side. With this being modeled, it does make it a big consideration when selecting weapons. Do you want to have two missiles when you are going to have to manage an imbalanced load mid-dogfight? I'm planning on just taking one on the underbelly in multiplayer because I think it'll be safer, but let's see what other people do. As we come down on our last bomber, we're going to go ahead and select dogfight mode, and we get tone, and we're going to rip off a Fox 2. I hope this gives you a nice little preview on the plane and how it feels to fly it. I'm very excited to see this hit the multiplayer scene, and I look forward to learning how to fly this with all of you. When I feel comfortable enough on the plane, I'll be making my own guides, but for now, I'm in learning mode, just like all of you. If you want to catch those guides when they come out, please consider subscribing. Thanks, and have a good one.